The seed that knew when to die. A gardener once planted 2 seeds. One sprouted immediately, quick to grow, eager to rise above the soil and bask in the sun. It celebrated its speed and strength. The second remained hidden underground, seemingly lifeless, still, dormant. The first plant laughed at its quiet sibling. "Are you scared of the world? Why don't you grow?" But the second seed didn't answer. It waited, it listened, it yielded to the darkness. And when spring truly came, the second seed emerged, not as a weed, but as a mighty tree. Its roots were deep, its trunk steady. It didn't grow first, it returned first, to the source, to the silence, to the way. That is the wisdom of the Tao, and that is what we're going to explore together today. Chapter 40 of the Tao Te Ching. Return is the movement of the way. Yielding is the function of the way. All things in the world are born of being. Being is born of non-being. While this saying is one of the shortest in the Tao chapters, there is much wisdom in these words. Return is not a setback, it's a strategy. In our culture, we are obsessed with progress. Go forward, scale up, climb higher, grow fast, win big. But Lao Tzu tells us something radically different. Return is the movement of the way. Let that settle in for a moment. The highest wisdom moves backward. The way returns, not because it's regressing, but because return is how growth is sustained. Think about your breath. You exhale, but you must return to the inhale. Your heartbeat expands, but it must return to its contraction. A wave crashes, but it must return to the ocean. Everything in nature is cyclical, and yet we resist this truth. We fear return, we fear pause, we fear stillness, but the comeback only happens after the return. The comeback that started in defeat. Let me tell you about a fighter I once coached. Let's call him Jordan. He had everything going for him: strength, speed, heart. He was undefeated for nearly 3 years, but one night, under the lights and high pressure, he was knocked out in the second round. It shook him, not just physically, but spiritually. He didn't show up to the gym for weeks. When I finally saw him again, he looked quiet, not broken, just still. Something had shifted. I said, "You ready to get back to it?" He shook his head. "Not yet. I'm not ready to go forward. I think I need to go inward first." He took 3 months off, not to escape, but to return. He meditated. He walked in nature. He reflected. He studied tape, not just of his fights, but of himself, his fears, his identity, his truth. When he came back, he moved slower, but with deeper awareness. His technique had more soul. His presence was undeniable. He went on to win his next 6 fights, not because he forced it, but because he yielded. Jordan became powerful by learning how to return. Through this returning is how we realign. Let's break this down. When you feel burned out, when you're pushing and nothing is working, when you're hustling but feel hollow, that's the Tao whispering. Return, not quit, not collapse. Return. Return to your breath. Return to your center. Return to your rituals. Return to presence. Why? Because the Tao does not flow in a straight line. It flows like a spiral. Growth is not linear. It is recursive. Every spiral of mastery includes a return to the basics. Every transformation begins with a regrounding. This is why every meditative tradition begins with awareness, because you can't evolve what you haven't returned to first. The yielding function of power. The next line says, yielding is the function of the way. This flips modern thinking on its head. We think force creates power. Taoism teaches yielding is power. The strongest tree isn't the one that resists the storm, it's the one that bends with the wind and returns to center. The greatest athletes know this. Watch the way Federer played tennis, or how Tai Chi masters respond to pressure. There's an effortless power in their yielding. It's not weak, it's efficient, it's not passive, it's strategic. To yield is to let the energy pass through without getting stuck. To return is to remain adaptable, and that is what creates longevity. Here's one thing I challenge you to try. For the next 7 days, begin your day with 5 minutes of stillness before anything else. Don't touch your phone, don't check your email, don't turn on music, just sit or stand or lie down. Return to yourself, return to your breath, return to the space between thoughts. You don't need a mantra, you don't need incense, you just need the willingness to pause and listen. What you'll notice is that as the world starts to stir around you, you'll already be aligned with the current, not caught in it. This one shift will change everything about how you move through your day. Being is born of non-being. Let's unpack this last line. All things in the world are born of being. Being is born of non-being. Translation: everything you see, every object, thought, creation comes from being. But where does being come from? From non-being, from stillness, from the void, from the empty space that holds all potential. This is sacred ground. All ideas are born from the space of no thought. All inspiration is born from surrender. All greatness begins in silence. That's why forcing your next step when you're off course won't help. You must return. And from that non-being, something new will arise. It might be a new idea, a new perspective, a new version of yourself. But it can only emerge, when you stop clinging to being and let yourself dissolve into non-being. Comeback is a process, not a point. So often we think of a comeback as a moment, some grand re-entry, but real comeback energy isn't loud. It's a quiet recommitment. It's a return to what matters. It's a realignment with who you are. And that kind of comeback, it doesn't need applause, it just needs presence. The sculptor who returned. There's an old story of a sculptor who created magnificent statues, but one year everything he made felt off. He tried harder, pushed more, forced the art, but it only got worse. So he stopped sculpting. He returned to the mountains where he first learned to see form in stone. He meditated, listened to birds, watched the way shadows fell on rock. He stopped doing and started being. After a month, he returned. The next statue he carved was considered his masterpiece. When asked what changed, he said, "I didn't add anything, I just remembered the silence that taught me to see." So here's my invitation. Don't wait until you're broken to return. Don't wait until you're lost to yield. Don't wait until the storm to come back to stillness. Make return your practice. Make yielding your strategy. Make non-being your portal to true being. The way will meet you there. If this lesson resonated with you, like the video, leave a comment below. Tell us, what does returning mean to you? How do you practice yielding in your own life? And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel for more teachings that bring Taoist wisdom to your modern life. Stay rooted, stay yielding, and keep returning to the source. See you in the next lesson.